So this is Sean is on his way home right now with his daughter Olive. Hi, Olive. And we're gonna start reading Anuccheda 31.
Okay.
Okay. Elsewhere, this meaning is seen as the highest result of the various scriptures. This is the Prīti Sandarbha. This is a different Sandarbha. This is the last one. It's the highest, the ultimate um, conclusion of the Shastra, which is the goal of human life is love of God. Just like the Nitya Muktas who have all desires fulfilled always worship Vishnu, one should be a devotee. Brihad Tantra quoted in Madhva's commentary, the liberated souls have no decrease or increase in their forms at all, since they have perfected spiritual perception and lack material senses. The worship of the Lord is filled with happiness. Is not a practice since it is perfected. Brahma Vivarta Purana. Until liberation, one worship the Lord all times. After liberation, also one worships him. That reminds me of what they said, like it doesn't matter if a devotee is in heaven or in hell. It's kind of like a wheat threshing machine. What does a wheat threshing machine do? It threshes wheat. Now, if it's in heaven or if it's in hell, it just still threshes wheat. So a devotee always serves Krishna, whether he's in heaven or in hell. So until liberation, one should worship the Lord at all times. After liberation, one also worships him. That's from the Sauparna Shruti. The bhakti of the liberated souls is filled with the highest bliss, from Shruti quoted in the Tatparya. The same meaning is found in the Brihad Gotamiya Tantra. The person who undergoes initiation and is free from sin, though living in this world, enjoys as a liberated jiva. He has a form of bliss and sees equally everywhere. This bliss is filled with consciousness. This bhakti filled with consciousness is characterized as prema. Prema means love. He sees equally because he's devoid of decrease or increase. In the same scripture, the sages say, what is that bhakti of the Jivan Mukta in Prema, O Narada? Since the bodies of these Jivan Mukta devotees are without desire and are spiritual, bhakti is said to be the sadhana for liberation and the cause of detachment. Narada said, you've spoken correctly. Liberation is beyond the fourth state. Brahman, which constitutes Krishna's abode, shines everywhere. It is pure happiness situated in the Atma and is not perceived by the senses. Krishna, the complete Atma, the form of happiness everywhere, becomes visible immediately by practice of devotional activities. Even the gurus of Advaita agree that bhakti is a liberated condition. Yam vavai sarve veda anamanti mumukshavo brahma vadinascha. All the Vedas, persons desiring liberation and liberated persons, worship the Lord. Nrsimhatampani Upanishad 2:4. Shankara's commentary says, quote, liberated persons also worship the Lord, having made a deity form with ease, end quote. Brahmavadina means persons who are fixed in Brahman in order to speak about it. They are thus liberated persons. According to the aphorism Vedashtarye, Panini 727, Tesham Gyani Nityayukta Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate. Among them, the Gyani, the Brahmavadin, always engaged in the service of the Lord, endowed with pure bhakti, is the best. Bhagavad Gita 7:17. This bhakti is attained by great mercy of the Lord. O Vishnu, do not pray for liberation, Salokya or Sarupya. I desire your mercy, or I do not pray for liberation, Salokya or Sarupya. I desire your mercy, O fortunate one fixed in vows, Jitanta Stotra Narda Pancharatma. O Lord of boons, I do not pray for dharma, kama, artha, or moksha. I desire service at your lotus feet. I do not ask Vishnu for liberation, though he desires to give boons. I offer respects to Prahlad, who accepted bhakti. I offer respects to Hanuman, who did not desire liberation without service to Ram, even if it is given by chance. Narayanas Vyuhastava from Harishirsha Pancharatra. The obstacles created by the Purusharthas are criticized. I do not desire Dharma, Artha, Kama, or Moksha at any time. May I be given life at the lotus feet of the Lord. Jitanta Stotra. It is not astonishing that the Purusharthas are surpassed by Prīti for the Lord. Prīti means bhakti. The Prīti Sandarbha means bhakti, like love of God. The Devatas who constantly dwell. Oh, this is a famous verse. I'm going to say the Sanskrit because I know this verse pretty well. Yasyati bhaktir bhagavati kinchana savargunas tatra samasate sura harava bhaktasya mahadgun kuto mahadguna manorta tendasati davato bahi. The Devatas constantly dwell with all good qualities in that person who has pure bhakti for the Lord. There are no good qualities in the non-devotee who chases after temporary material objects with desire for material pleasure. That's a very famous verse. It says the Bhagavatam saying, devotees have all good qualities, but non-devotees have no good qualities. That's pretty stark, uh, statement, but it's true. Prīti is said to be endowed with compassion, which arises as bhakti's nature. I do not pray to the Supreme Lord for the 8 perfections of mystic yoga, nor for salvation from repeated birth and death. I want only to stay among all the living entities and suffer all distresses on their behalf so that they may be freed from suffering. Srimad Bhagavatam 9:21-12. The meaning is clear. A Dayavir, a person dedicated to showing mercy, will give up things because he's merciful, or a person who will give up things if he does not know the actual value of the objects involved. One may think that King Ranti, as a Danavir, generous and giving, who could renounce any amount of wealth he had attained, rejected liberation simply out of enthusiasm generated by his prīti to the Lord without knowing its value, which stimulated his nature of giving and charity, Danavir. But this was not the reason. He did so because prīti for the Lord is more relishable than liberation. Examples are seen in Shukadeva and others who realized all truth and were fixed in the highest goal. Thus, prīti for the Lord is superior to all types of liberation. Rantidev speaks. Rantidev was a great king, and he just gave up everything. All sadhanas should lead to prīti. Anucchedas 32. It is pointed out that this is also the principal result of other Vedic sadhanas. The result that men attain by pious acts, austerity, sacrifices, charity, and concentration in yoga should be pleasing me. Srimad Bhagavatam 3:941. The commentary says, quote, it is said that there is nothing greater than affection for me. The result, nishrayasam, of perfection, radham, by charity, etc., is affection for me only. That is the opinion of knowers of the truth. Anucchedas 33. Those who do not know the truth think the result is different. O Brahma, I am the soul in all living beings. Among all dear things, I am the dearest object to the living beings. For this reason, the body and family are dear to a person. Therefore, one should have love for me. Srimad Bhagavatam 3:942. I am the Atma or Paramatma, like the sun of all pure jivas who are like rays. That's a beautiful analogy. We're just like parts and parcels of the sun, or like sparks in a fire. You should know Krishna to be the soul of all living entities. For the benefit of the whole universe, out of his causeless mercy, he has appeared as an ordinary human being by the strength of his Maya. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-55. I am dear among all dear Atmas. I am most excellent. For this reason, things like the body become dear to the Atmas. Thus, everyone should have affection for me. Not knowing me, they do not have affection. Garbhadakshayi speaks to Brahma. Garbhadakshayi Vishnu, that's one of the four Vishnus, or three Vishnus. Anucchedas 34. A person who has pure Prīti is the best of all. In this material world, there are as many human beings as atoms. Among these living entities, a few are human beings or devatas, and among them, a few practice Dharma. O best of the Brahmanas, out of those who follow Dharma, only a few desire liberation, and among many thousands who desire liberation, one person becomes a Jivan Mukta, and out of many such persons, only one attains liberation. O great sage, greater than those who are Jivan Mukta and greater than those who attain liberation is the devotee of Lord Narayan. Such a devotee who is in Shanta or other rasas is very rare, even among 10 million people. Srimad Bhagavatam 6:14, 3 and 5 through 5. Shreya means dharma, actions for attaining happiness in the next life. Are you home now? Okay. I'm just
Yeah,
going
I'm
to keep
home.
reading until you're sitting down.
Yeah, we're gonna get inside now.
Okay. Among those desiring liberation, one may become Jivan Mukta, Muchyeta. The Jivan Mukta who does not commit offense to the Lord is perfect. Siddhyati. Siddhyati means that such a person attains liberation at death. O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees having impure intelligence because of not having devotion to you think that they're liberated and become Jivan Mukta after severe austerities and penances, they fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for the lotus feet of you and your devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.2.32. The Jivan Mukta again becomes subject to the material desires if they offend the Lord, possessor of inconceivable great Shakti, Bhagavat Parishishta. He who, out of bewilderment, does not follow the Supreme Lord as he moves in procession, though he has burned all his karmas by the fire of knowledge, becomes a Brahma Rakshasa. That's like a ghost, like a very powerful ghost. Vishnu Bhakti Chandrodaya. These proofs are given in Bhakti Sandarbha. Among the 10 millions of Jivan Muktas, Muktanam, and liberated Jivas, Siddhanam, the person who surrenders to Vishnu is rarest. The Lord, son of Vasudeva, is not easily available to materialists or to jnanis with realization of Atma, but is easily available to persons with devotion to the son of Yashoda. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:9-21. The Lord gives liberation, but rarely gives bhakti. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:6-18. A surrendered soul is rare because he is firmly fixed in the true nature of the Lord, satatma. The Lord himself has explained samo namanishta buddhe. Sama or shanta means, quote, fixing the intelligence in me. Srimad Bhagavatam 11:19-26, 36. Parikshit speaks to Shukadev. You want to read something now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, there you
Yeah,
are.
I can hear you now.
Your screen froze up for a second there. All right, just read the English, Anucchedas 35.
Just a second. Just a second. Just a moment. Six.
I tell my teacher that.
Can you hear me?
Hold on, let me get your speak. You say something now?
Anucchedas
Okay.
35, Prīti Sandarbha.
Oh, there you go.
You can hear
Okay.
me?
Okay, go ahead and start reading Anucchedas 35.
All right, Anucchedas 35. Therefore, it is said, O king, generally the sages who are beyond rules and prohibitions, who are situated beyond the gunas, take pleasure in glorifying the qualities of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam 2:1-7. In three verses, it is shown that bhakti is practiced by the best of the Atmaramas. Those who have bhakti, those who do not have bhakti are condemned. That heart which does not transform on hearing the names of the Lord, even though he shows tears in his eyes and hair standing on end, is made of iron. Srimad Bhagavatam 2:3-24.
I actually made it.
Therefore,
I actually made a meme out of that. It was like an ironclad heart. It was like made out of sheet iron, and it had that the text in the middle of it. That heart does not, which does not transform on hearing the names of the Lord, even though he shows tears in the eyes and hair standing in it, is made of iron. So, you can fake. There's lots of people. They're called prakrita sahajas who fake emotions just to show off. Maybe they want to like pretend like they're great devotees, but those aren't real devotees. If you actually have um, love in your heart, then these things will occur naturally. You don't have to fake it. Go ahead.
therefore it is said, O king, thus I will answer your questions as I have heard from authorities. I will speak to you because you desire purification of the self. Srimad Bhagavatam 7:13-23. And Sudhim means inclination for pure bhakti. Dattatreya speaks to Prahlad.
Okay, I'll read the next one. We'll just take turns reading Anucchedas. Therefore it is said, a devotee whose speech is choked up, whose heart is melted, who cries continuously and sometimes laughs, sometimes feels ashamed, sometimes sings loudly, and sometimes dances. A devotee thus fixed in loving service to me purifies the entire universe. Srimad Bhagavatam 11:14-24. The meaning is clear. Go ahead.
Anuccheda 37. I always follow the footsteps of my pure devotees, who are free from all personal desire, are wrapped in thought of my pastimes, are fixed in me, without any feelings of enmity, and are equal to all conditions of the world. Let me be purified by the dust of their feet. Srimad Bhagavatam 11:14-16. Nirapeksham means a devotee with no desires except for the Lord. This devotee is without agitation, shantanam, or shantam. Thus, he has no enemies anywhere. He is devoid of thinking of objects as good or bad, samadarshanam. I follow a devotee such as Narad because by such a good conduct filled with pure bhakti, I developed excellent bhakti for him. How can it be hidden? I should be purified by the dust from their feet. I will be purified from the fault of not responding fully to his bhakti. The Lord speaks the verse.
That's amazing because Krishna himself wants to be purified by the dust of his devotees' feet. That's why he always like walks in back of them, I guess. Anuccheda 38. Who can list the innumerable qualities of Prahlad Maharaj? It is accurately said that his greatness was his natural attraction for Vasudeva. Srimad Bhagavatam 7:436. Tasya refers to Prahlad. Shukadev speaks the verse. Go ahead.
Annotated 39. Thus, it is proved that Prīti is the highest Purushartha. Um, the highest devotees, having forgotten even a trace of material happiness by the continuous bliss of prema flowing from their minds, have, after having tasted one drop of the ocean of sweet nectar of your glories, have faith in the spring have faith in the Lord alone, who is the best of the best friend of all beings and who is situated within all beings. Who can these devotees, how can these devotees, whose minds are continuously blissful, who know their own benefit and are friends with you, give up service to your lotus feet, which prevent return to this material world? Srimad Bhagavatam 9:6-9:39. And having tasted the nectar even once, this is the effect. Narad also indicates this. When one's consciousness is uncontaminated by material lusty desires, when it is peaceful in all activities, and is touched by the happiness of Brahman, the consciousness does not deviate at any time. Srimad Bhagavatam 7:15-35. Atma Priya Suhridha means the devotees who have you, Atma, as the dear friend. Devatas speak to the Lord.
Anucchedas 40. Thus it is said, the wise man strives for that happiness which is not attained by jivas, wandering from Brahmaloka to the lowest species. Material happiness is attained in all cases without endeavor by the law of karma, just like distress, through the force of fast-moving time. That's why Prahlad Maharaj said, he said, if you want to be happy, just stop trying to be happy. You know,
Yeah, you know what? I was listening to this version of the Mahabharata, uh, the Bhagavad Gita portion of it, recently, and it was talking about lust, being, but they use the word desire.
right.
That desire, and they're using, instead of the word lust like Prabhupada uses, they're using the word desire, and it was like a nice. I reflected on that. It was nice to reflect on that. I think.
I have a verse on my wall right here, which actually is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, but it's a different translation. It says, the person completely surrendered to the Lord, in whose mind no impressions, desires, or actions arise, is considered to be the best of devotees. In other
Mm.
words, he's completely surrendered. He doesn't have any
Yeah,
desires separate from Krishna. That's one of the principles that Lord Chaitanya stated, as far as like there's 6 principles. One should completely surrender to the Lord by that means, to think of oneself as fully dependent on the Lord, to be protected by Him, to have no other desire than the desire of the Lord. These are the principles of surrender. Let's see here. Okay, go ahead and read 41.
Anucchedas 41. The devotees worship you who destroy the abundant illusions arising from the gunas of Maya. For the devotees, I do not know any result from worshiping you except remembrance of your lotus feet. I like that. And the commentary says, because you are affectionate to the fallen, the devotees give up all desires. After gaining knowledge, they worship the Lord, who destroys the effects of action of the gunas of Maya. For what purpose do they worship? I do not know any other result than remembering your lotus feet. Prithu speaks to Vishnu.
Yeah, the
This
whole purpose of Bhagavatam is to understand what the difference is between illusion and reality. Those,
it says they're saying that remembrance is uh that's the what we're looking for, I guess, to remember them.
I do
That's the
not
only result.
result from worshiping you except remembrance of your lotus feet. Now, the remembrance is actually one of the processes of devotional service. There's hearing, chanting, remembering. That's a third one. So when you
Hmm.
hear and then you chant his qualities and form and pastimes, automatically remembrance of him will come up in your mind.
Most of the stuff I've read, it emphasizes, like in Prabhupada's purports and in all these literatures, they're emphasizing the first three of the 9 processes of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. And that's
Right.
I like the more I read and stuff, they're like really just stressing, shoving them, cutting them, smarting them.
Yeah.
I like it. I
Well,
think
that's
it's pretty. There's like,
Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad was a an example of see every single devotional practice like Shravanam, the hearing, that was Parikshit Maharaj, who sat on the bank of the Ganges and fasted until death. Kirtanam was Shukadev Goswami. And Smaranam was Prahlad Maharaj, I believe.
mm,
Okay, so let me do this one here. Anucchedas 42. Therefore, the devotees should desire Prīti. Everything else is useless. Having been honored so much by Balaram and Krishna, Akrura, seated comfortably on a couch, felt that all the desires he had contemplated on the road were now fulfilled. Can you imagine, like Akrura, he was waiting and waiting to meet Balaram and Krishna, and he was like so excited, even though he, he was deputed by Kamsa to come and bring him to Mathura to have him killed. He just wanted to meet Krishna. He was like a pure devotee, and so he didn't care, even though his deed was nefarious, and he ripped him out of the association of the gopis, and the gopis were mad at
mm,
Akura because they were taking away their only love. And so, Akura means not cruel. And they said, Akura, the meaning of your name is cruelty. You're taking away our life, you know. And they pretty much, they almost died when Krishna was gone. When Krishna was like going on the road, with Akura and the chariot, they were just standing there watching him go away. Even though they tried to stop him, they couldn't stop him, and they watched the chariot, with go into the distance with the dust from the wheels, and they were standing there like painted pictures. They just were completely devastated, and sometimes, especially Radharani, because she was like so attached to Krishna, and like a Lalita or Vishaka, I'm not sure which one, she wrote a message to Krishna. She said, I don't know how long Radharani can live without you. I will test her breathing with a little cotton swab in front of her nose and to see if they're moving. And that way I can find out whether she's still alive or not. And it's like, these are intense. They were really feeling intense separation from Krishna. Of course, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and that's why Krishna did this. But Krishna, he also did it because you know he promised he would come back, and he actually did. It's not in the Bhagavatam. Do you know that he came back to Vrindavan?
um, I just remember hearing Balram going back.
Balaram went back. He played with his gopis, the different gopis. But Krishna actually, after he killed Dantavakra, this is not in the Bhagavatam. This is in the Padma Purana, I believe. And
Okay, that's why I haven't heard it yet.
yeah, that I read it, and he talks about it in other places, but I think he talked about it in the Bhakti Sandarbha, the previous Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami. But you know what he did? He promised he came back, and he fulfilled his promise. And so what he did, it was in there's two different kinds of pastimes. The Prakata pastimes, that's the pastimes on earth, meaning, Krishna is on the earth, he's on the terrestrial earth, and he's having his pastimes with the gopis. And they are feeling lots of separation, when he was gone, and they were so blissful when he came back. That was started in the rasa dance. All of a sudden they're feeling a little bit proud. During the rasa dance, they were thinking that they were the greatest women in the universe by being able to dance with Krishna personally. And so Krishna felt that were being a little bit proud, and so he left them, and he took Radharani into the forest, and they were freaking out. Just Krishna knows how to cure the disease of pride. He knows how to kill that deadly manifestation of pride, which um, kind of obscures our prema. Pride goes before the fall, it says in the Bible, I think. So Krishna took away their pride, and they thought, then they went searching for Krishna, and they were like mad women. They were asking all the trees and the creepers and, hey, have you seen Krishna? And they would look and they would see the footprints on the ground, and then they saw the footprints of another set of footprints, and they thought, well, there's another set of footprints here. Krishna must have taken another very fortunate gopi away from the dance, and he's enjoying with her somewhere. And then they found Radharani there, and all by herself, because Krishna had left her too. And so then they were just like completely freaking out, and they were just lurking everywhere. And then Krishna came back, and you know that the songs of separation, that's from the 10th canto as well. These are really highly elevated emotions that the gopis went through in that circumstance, and that's the mood that Lord Chaitanya had all the time when he was in Jagannath temple. He was feeling a separation from Krishna, so much so that he tried to get out of his room, and he tried to go find Krishna. And he was so much in separation, he would grind his face against the walls, and he would like injure himself. And then somehow or other he got out, and then the devotees couldn't find him, and they had to look for him. I mean, he was like constantly in complete madness. He was a madman. But the thing is, he was inside. He was feeling so much bliss, because that is the highest manifestation of attachment to Krishna, is this feeling of separation. But there's the prakata pastimes, those are the earthly pastimes, and then there's the aprakata pastimes. Those are the manifestation. That is the manifestation of Goloka Vrindavan, which is non-different from Vrindavan, but it's eternal. And there Krishna is married to all the gopis. And so Krishna, after the killing of Dantavakra, he went with his chariot to Vrindavan. He put all the residents of Vrindavan onto his chariot. Now, how can he fit like thousands of gopis and other people and cowherd boys? How can he fit that on one chariot? Well, time and space don't make any difference in Krishna's pastimes. That doesn't apply, because all the universes are fit into 32 square mile tract of land called Vrindavan in India. All of the universes are fit into there. So it doesn't make any difference. So there, there's no limitation of time or space. Even time, when Krishna was in Dwarka, Narada Muni came to visit him, and he wanted to figure out what was Krishna doing, and all these different queens. He had like 16,000 queens with 16,000 different palaces. And so he went to the first one, and Krishna was playing with his kids, and then he went to another one, and Krishna was doing something else. Maybe he was resting on the bed or something, and his queen was like fanning him, and then it was like, but it was a different time of day, and so it, you know Narada Muni was blown away. He said, "How can this be? Like all these different Krishnas, every time he went to a different palace, Krishna would greet him just like a normal person. But and all of the queens of Krishna were thinking that Krishna must love me the best because he's always here. But like during the day, when Krishna would get up and meditate on himself, in the morning, he'd do his morning ablations or whatever. And who else is he going to meditate on, you know, besides himself. So he meditated on himself, and he, his queens were there in the palace, but he would leave each palace and he would merge into one Krishna. He would go up to this hall where all the Yadavas were. It would all the different Krishna, 16,000 different manifestations of Krishna would merge into one Krishna, and then he would go to the Sudharma assembly hall. And so, Narada Muni's mind was blown, as you can, can understand. I mean, sometimes yogis can like separate themselves and make like a mirror image of themselves, but they can't do different things. But Krishna was doing a different thing with every single queen, and the queen was totally fulfilled that Krishna loves me the best because he's always here. And so Krishna could have billions of wives. It doesn't even matter. Krishna is unlimited. So he can have unlimited amount of wives and yeah, I can't even take care of myself. What to speak of a wife. But Krishna is different. So you want to read this next set of paragraphs here till the end of
Okay,
the.
my dear king, what is unattainable for one who has satisfied the Supreme Lord, the shelter of the goddess of fortune. Even so, those who are dedicated to his devotional service never want anything from him. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:39, 1 through 2. Akrura is the subject. His desires were fulfilled, or desires were full of bhakti only. What pious deeds have I done? What severe austerities undergone? And what worship performed or charity given, so that today I will see Keshava, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:38, 3. Why did he not ask for liberation? Nothing was left unattained on seeing Krishna. Shukadev speaks the verse.
I mean, yeah, everything is like when you have Krishna, everything that you could possibly want follows you like a maidservant. All sense gratification, all riches, all liberation itself stands with folded hands waiting to serve you. Krishna includes everything, and in fact, he includes all the different aspects of liberation: Sarupya, Samipya, Sharsti. Living on the same planet as Krishna, living in his association, having the same bodily features as the Lord. These are all, the devotee doesn't even care about those as long as he can serve Krishna. So that is the only, that's the only desire for a real pure devotee. And Arcura, when he was on the road, he's going to Vrindavan when he was on his way there to pick up Krishna and Balaram and take him back to Mathura. He saw Krishna's footprints in the dust, and he just fell down off the chariot and started rolling around in the dust of Krishna because he was so excited. And he was thinking the whole way. He said, "What am I going to do when I get there? I'll, Krishna and Balaram will greet me, and then they'll sit me down in their place. And I know he's not going to be pissed, even though I'm going to, take him to see Kamsa because he knows I'm a devotee. And this is all part of his pastime. So he won't be mad at me just for taking him away because this is just all preordained. So we'll read a couple more here. Uh, Anuccheda 43. Go ahead.
Anucchedas 43. On the other hand, in whatever birth I receive, may I have Rati for the unlimited Lord, excellent association with his devotees who take shelter of him and friendship with all living beings. I offer respects to the Brahmanas. That's a really nice verse. I like that. That's pretty. Shrishtam means birth. May I be a friend to all beings by having equal vision. I should have special respect for the Brahmanas. Parikshit speaks.
See, rati means attachment. See, whatever you do, if you have attachment for hearing the message of Krishna, this is why reading and chanting and hearing is so important because whatever you do, whatever your occupational duty, if it doesn't bring you rati for the Lord or for his devotees, then all that you do is useless. The only criterion for a successful occupation is to if that occupation brings you closer to the Lord and develops attachment. From rati attachment brings you into you want to serve the Lord once you have affection for him, and then that thickens and becomes, you think that Krishna is your own. You say, this is, he's mine. And then when that, when it fructifies fully, then it turns into prema. But it's all a gradual process, and it comes basically from hearing and chanting his pastimes and reading these stories. We're going to read a couple more here. Go ahead and read Anucchedas 44.
Anucchedas 44. Therefore it is said, O Vidura, those like you who taste the dust from the lotus feet of Mukunda do not desire anything for themselves except service to him. Their minds are completely satisfied with whatever object comes to them by chance. Srimad Bhagavatam 4:936. Their minds are satisfied easily, yadrichaya, by the power of bhakti. A particle of the Lord's merciful glance yields all purusharthas. Naichtan muktipatir muktim. He did not desire the liberation awarded by the giver of liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam 4:929. In relation to Dhruva, mukti does not mean liberation, but dasyam, according to the context of previous verses. Vishnur anuchara tvam hi moksham ahur manishanaha. The wise say that liberation means following Vishnu. Padma Purana. Maitreya speaks the verse.
Yeah, so dasyam means service.
And
Mukti does
that's
not mean
liberation.
liberation, but dasyam, it means service.
So that's what. So if you achieve dasyam, then you're liberated.
Yeah, it's automatic. There's four different relationships with Krishna. There's the neutral relationship, like the cows. They have a shantaras. They are feeling like appreciation for the Lord's greatness. But then once you find out how great he is, then you want to serve him. And then higher than that is like developing friendship with him, and then um, a parental affection. That's you when you feel like Krishna is your dependent and you want to take care of him, and that's even higher. But the highest is Madhurya, where the gopis they have all of those emotions plus to the highest degree. They have a conjugal relationship with Krishna, and they feel like Krishna is theirs. They want to take care of him, and he wants to take care of them. And it's just a reciprocal relationship that is ever increasing on both sides. And when
So
is with the gopis, he becomes more beautiful. And when the gopis are in the surrounding Krishna, it's like a bunch of golden necklace with a blue sapphire in the middle of the rasa dance. It's just an amazing, beautiful pastime. But I think we'll end here because um, we're halfway through the next section here. We were actually read a little bit more than I thought.
oh,
But
I like
thank
the
you.
way this reads. This is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this. I like this. I just don't want to read it's too cumbersome to read the Sanskrit, but the English parts are really, really sweet because this
Yeah.
is talking about the highest Prīti or Bhakti. And so we'll start next week on Shada 45 and continue. I want to go through step by step, for with you. So we'll pick up where we left off. How's that?
Sure. That sounds great.
I'll be reading ahead because I want to finish the whole book, but I'm only like right now, I'm on page 91 and there's 592 pages. So I'm only
Oh
like
wow. So you're
through the
only
book, right now.
20% through.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It was nice to meet your daughter, Olive.
Oh yeah.
And what's your son's name again?
Oh, I got two sons. One is Jackson and one is Ian.
Jackson and Ian. How old are they?
Yeah. 15 and 13.
Okay. They're both at your their mother's house now?
Yep, they were their moms.
Okay. How far does she live away?
Uh, there's like three of them, and they live in the area, like about maybe like 10 minutes away.
Oh, okay. Anyway, next week, I actually did this with another guy who had his son always in the back seat. He was like 4 or 5 years old, and he would go to like a karate class, and he would always, it was like every Wednesday he would bring him back, and he would be sitting in the back with his child seat in the back. But he was really an amazing kid. He would always say, "I like Krishna stories," and he was always saying that, and he was always chanting. He was like a really Krishna conscious kid. Kids are
Uh,
really fortunate if they have parents that are devotees, because if you start them out young, they'll remember that their whole life. So
yeah,
your
that's all
daughter,
I'm really concerned about. I just want to get her hooked on Krishna and in the Vedic scriptures, and and the community of devotees. I just want her to get connected to that, nice and not
yeah, I
rooted
mean
in.
that's the only thing that really matters is we always
Yeah,
have to be Krishna conscious. Krishna says, always remember me, worship me, offer your obeisance to me, and that way you'll come to me. I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. And if we have that idea of who Krishna is by hearing about him, and then we always remember to like churn those verses in our mind and always chant the holy name. Krishna's name is not different from him. And so then we get Krishna's association through his name. And then we can constantly remember him as long as we're like in a humble state of mind and, thinking ourselves not very big or great, humbler than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. Tree's pretty tolerant, you can cut it down and you can burn it. You can it stands through the summer and winter and it doesn't care. But so more tolerant than a tree, humbler than a blade of grass. I mean, how can you be humbler than a blade of grass? That means like even if somebody insults you, you don't take it seriously, you know, and ready to offer all respects to others, but not expecting any respect for yourself. That's what it means. That's the verse that I'm named after, the Shikshastika verse that is most important because the third verse of the Shikshastika prayers, uh, Krishnadas Kaviraj, he said that verse is so important you should wear it around your neck like a garland or like a necklace. And actually had a medallion with the Trinadapi verse on it, uh,
oh,
but I lost it. It fell.
yeah,
But I just try to, the only thing I can do is like try to embody that, and that's even more important than actually wearing it around your neck.
yeah,
Anyway, thank you very much, and have a nice evening.
yeah. Thank you so much too, Hare Krishna.
Haribo.